We got none other than Bernie the Man back in studio, Boss Man, and of course the Honourable Prime Minister, Tātou Whātasi Fo le nei tāo.
Great, thanks young Seth. Fiame, tell us about the weekend. What you get up to?
Well, on Friday last week, most of Cabinet went to Savaii to do the launch for the pathway for the development of Samoa. Took the opportunity then to spend a night in Savaii, come back Saturday. So we stayed at Florence's place. I'm putting an ad in here.
Okay, yeah, good.
For Florence's place. It's in the middle of Fiame village. It's sort of bed and breakfast, homestay style with Ruth and Kelvin.
Nice.
Very nice. So had a little bit of I did an interview from Savaii.
Okay.
What was happening lately with COVID,
Yeah.
some of the new appointments in government, the CEO for the Airport Authority,
Yep.
the AG, continuing until we complete the recruitment process.
Yeah.
So she's very kindly agreed to stay on until that happens.
That's awesome.
And the last flight that came from New Zealand, all the people are out of quarantine. No one tested positive, so that's all great.
All positive, yeah.
Then had the opportunity to have a rest. Is it Anga Resort, that surf beach?
Yeah.
That is a magical place.
Yeah.
It is most unfortunate that it's closed down.
Yep.
I think it's, I hope someone takes it up. It's a wonderful asset for the sector and for the village. And then on Saturday morning, we went to the river at Wailoa. That's gorgeous.
Sound like you had a busy
Have you been,
week, huh?
Seth?
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, that's magical. So, the New Zealand government, I think a few years back, had helped with redeveloping that area.
Yep.
So it's easy access and it's a wonderful attraction. I'm told that before the lockdowns and the closing of the borders, it was a very busy, both Anga and Wailoa, so that's been quite a loss of income for the family.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to have spent the whole weekend there, but Sunday was the first Sunday of the month.
Yes.
Communion, so I have to come back, go to my church in Watafanga,
Okay.
attend the church service, have communion, have village meeting,
Yeah.
the usual Sunday routine. Yeah,
Okay.
good weekend.
Sounds great. You're a bit of a rock star over in Savaii. So the last time I was there was actually people have got things painted on their car with your name on it. So I haven't seen that anywhere in the world. So did you get that feeling when you get there? Is it?
Well, I don't know about the rock star thing, but I really like going to Savaii.
Yeah.
The ambience is quite different. Actually, the people are sort of quite different too.
Yeah.
What I used to like about Savaii, when I was in the last administration, we'd go on these cabinet sort of tours and see what's happening. So it would be, in a long convoy, and the police would, be there, with the sirens and the foghorn saying, "Get off the road." And the Savaii drivers just drive slowly; they don't move. So they're going at their own pace.
Yeah.
So it's lovely. I mean, the island is slightly different from Polu physically. So of course it's not as built up, especially around here or on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of wonderful nature in Savaii.
Yeah.
And one of my last trips to Savaii in the last government is going to Masa Masa, the forests.
Okay.
If you ever have a chance to go,
No, I've never been there. So.
you should go.
Yeah.
You would be converted to be a tree hugger.
Wow.
You just feel like you
Really?
just need to go hug those trees.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah.
He's a hugger now.
Yeah. Yeah. It is stunningly beautiful, Savaii. So it has so much potential for this country.
It's funny how you said that where you went is pretty much the same tour. I think recently we went over to Savaii. Juno had gone over there for netball camp.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the parents went over as well. And we actually, instead of going to the camp, we actually did that tour. And yeah, on the resort, that's so beautiful. It's yeah, it's a waste. And I think the owners, she lived here for a long time, and the kids that were there, because it's a surf resort. And it's probably the best surf that I've seen in Samoa. It's like safe as well. And the kids from Australia.
Yeah.
But they ended up repping Samoa and representing Samoa in surf tournaments.
Yeah, they're phenomenal, the kids. They've just been brought up in the water. So Keith Martin, who ran the resort, I believe he's quite unwell. So
in Australia.
But it is a
cancer.
beautiful place.
Yeah.
And we went up to the waterfalls, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At Wailoa.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing I'm told about Anga is that the surfers liked it because it has a left and a right approach.
There's about 3 or 4 breaks there. It's really nice. Like and then for canoes, we can actually use that for surfing as well. So yeah, it was really beautiful.
You could be one of the first surfing prime ministers. I don't think I've ever heard of.
What do they call those things? Boogie boards.
Boogie boards.
I think that would be more me. Yeah. Safely lying on my tummy.
Hey, you touched on vaccines, and I heard over the weekend we've hit 90% now for double dose, which is fantastic. Well done, Samoa. Awesome effort. Yeah.
Good job. And we're starting the 5 to 11.
Yeah, today.
Shots.
That rolls out through the schools.
Yeah.
So where to from here? We've got to be one of the best vaccinated countries in the world. You know, lots and lots of people are asking you, when are we opening? I know you probably get that question every day.
I do.
Yeah.
And my answer has always been, get the vaccination rates up.
Yeah.
It's a good incentive, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you get vaccinated, you can travel.
Yes.
Or have your family back.
Yeah.
I think, it's an issue we need to address and plan for. And I think it's important for everyone, to have an indicator of where that might be. I mean, this is our 60th year anniversary in June, beginning of June. A lot of people are wanting to come, Samoans. Of course, being a significant anniversary. New Zealand, who celebrates with us 60 years of the Treaty of Friendship as well, they've indicated they would like to participate in the 60th anniversary.
Okay.
So if you're asking me for a date, that would be a good date to look towards.
Okay.
It's a national event. It's a significant year.
Yeah.
But I think we have a lot to do.
Absolutely.
If we're going to, many countries are now opening up.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I think Omicron, has brought yet another facet to the COVID pandemic. It's been said that it's doing a bit of immunization
The vaccines
function than the vaccines. But of course, it would seem like Omicron, the impact is not as serious as Delta and the other variants. And most people seem to be asymptomatic. But, we're still looking at, ensuring our medical facilities can respond accordingly.
Yeah.
Or, make the organizations where, we can quarantine people or so forth.
Yeah.
But long answer to your question, Bernie.
There's
Would like to do it, starting the second half of the year, if that's possible, with all the circumstances.
Okay, that'd be amazing. So there'd be a lot of people smiling and listening on this morning, I'm sure. So that's great news. Couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about. So, what's it like being Prime Minister? Like, you were the Deputy Prime Minister for a period of time, and I've done those acting roles, but it's never quite the same. When you actually get the gig, what was it like when we found out you were going to be Prime Minister of Samoa?
Well, the main difference for me is a lot of people notice me now. They actually think I know everything, so they're constantly
Everyone's always asking you
asking me. But in terms of, I've been in politics since 1985.
Yep.
It's essentially be about, service to the country, development. The role changes, but the purpose doesn't.
Yeah.
So the Prime Minister's job, Prime Ministers are Prime Ministers, and they have a role and function. But my own particular approach is I'm very much a team worker. You might have noticed that there's a lot more delegation with my team in this new term. I think it's a good approach in that people take on their responsibilities, but also in the line of work that we're in, politics.
Yep.
I think it's very good experience, and a lot of my team are new, so they need to have the highest level of exposure possible, to pick up on the role, to perform more efficiently, but more importantly, to be more responsive to the needs that are expressed, and also keeping a focus, because we do have a platform.
Yeah.
We've begun to roll out that platform with this first budget. So it's really important to keep focus. Quite often in politics you get distracted. So that's another message with the team. Keep an eye on the ball, keep it going.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. What I know we're on radio, so I was going to say, what was your facial expression when you woke up back in April last year and you found out that FAST had won the election? Could you believe that?
Well,
The facial expression.
The hilarious thing was, we have the headquarters out at Tuanaimato, and in fact, there were only 3 of us in the office because everyone had dispersed, to go vote, and I didn't have an election.
Yep.
So, I was floating around, but sort of at the office, because we were getting all the information. So there was myself, another gentleman, one of our sort of journalist colleagues, and a reporter from Observer,
Okay.
young Sapir.
Yep.
So, we'd be getting, because we'd get the information directly from the booths, from our secretary. So we were getting it faster than people were hearing it on the radio.
Yeah.
So, we have a little dance around the office, because there were only 3 of us.
Don't do the dance, because
Yeah.
you're live on Facebook.
And, and then it just kept on going and going. And then we probably knew at around between 6 and 7
Yep.
that we were in a tie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's been a long process since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So-
Very busy process, to put at it. You guys have been going at it non-stop, and you're here with us this morning. Thank you very much, Honourable Prime Minister. Big shout out to all. We got your fans tuning in right now. Everyone is saying good morning from all around the world. Talo for lava, guys. Just like I said before, if you have any questions, yes, just keep them to yourself. Just off air, the Prime Minister was just telling me how beautiful my voice is on radio. I am honored. After today, I'm done for the week. But of course, if you're just tuning in to the show, we got the Honourable Prime Minister in the studio. Of course, Bernie back at it again here in I Spy. Bernie's usually in for No Cash Tuesday, where he gives out financial tips for everyone. But Prime Minister is happy. Of course, Bernie, is happy to join us today. And of course, Boss Man in the studio. And some of the things our Prime Minister's been up to. Of course, Bernie, you're telling us that it's International Women's Day today.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
actually. Yeah. So a really important day globally, and recognises women's contribution, socially, economically, culturally, and politically. Fiame, what IWD is one of the leading women in the South Pacific, probably the Southern Hemisphere, actually. So, what does IWD mean for you, and what's it like to be a woman leader?
Well, IWD has a theme every year, and this year is breaking the bias.
Yep.
And of course, the whole issue of challenges that face women sits, within the equality, gender equality. So, I mean, I think International Day was started in about 1911, so it's been going for a while.
Wow. Okay.
And since the 80s, we've had the Decade for Women. That was really the start of a comprehensive global effort on the government level to raise awareness on gender issues and building equality for women. It was quite interesting reading some of the background for this year's theme.
Yeah.
There have been very many programs, training for women, raising awareness, setting up legislation, and so forth. But it would seem like there are changes, but some things don't change.
Yeah.
And the things that don't change are people's attitudes. So that's why this breaking the bias.
Yeah.
And it's not just, men with attitude. It's actually also women with attitude about, where women sit, what is their role, what is their function, and so forth. So for International Women's Day, it's an opportunity to focus and take a measure of where we're at.
Yeah.
Now, interestingly for me, as you will appreciate, last year with our political crisis, so to speak, one of the factors that brought about a crisis was the whole provision for women's representation.
Yep.
Not so much because it was the women, but because of the effect that the provision had on the numbers in Parliament. And you know, of course, it gave rise to a hung Parliament. So, as with numbers, odd, even, that's your option. The message that I saw immediately is that this hung Parliament situation could arise again and again due to this particular provision. Now, as a woman, I would hate it, that a provision specifically for women's participation would create a systemic crisis, and we know it's there, but we haven't done anything about it. So I think it's one of the things that we are going to have to review, the legislation for the women's representation, so that we can avoid what happened.
Yep.
So interestingly enough, that issue still has to be finalized because there's a challenge before the court about the formula. Not so much the number, whether it's 5 or 6. The court has determined it's 6. But I think the issue being raised now is the formula that is being used to calculate.
Minimum 10%.
No, to calculate who gets in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but coming back to International Women's Day and breaking the bias, that's where it's at. We can make legislation, we can, have so many programs, I think you and I were having a conversation where in your field, so many more women now are coming in and, they've broken the ceiling, they're rising and so forth. So you can have all that, but at the same time, there are these very ingrained attitudes and biases towards women that still keep women suppressed or oppressed.
Yeah. I did, we talked about it during the week, but last week I find it really fascinating here. So 80% of my staff at ANZ are all female. I ran through a bit of a list of people that we want to interview on the radio station. 11 out of 12 are all female. We've got great female leaders here in Samoa and really interesting people. Why are we struggling in the political arena to get so few women?
Mostly because there is still that perception that government is a male thing, especially Parliament.
Yep.
So it's a very strong perception, and we see that. Our particular context in Samoa, our system is Westminster, but it's also premised on the Matai system.
Mm-hmm.
So more and more women, of course, are holding Matai titles. But interestingly enough, I mean, in my village, I know a number of women have gotten titles from their families. But when we have village meetings, there's myself and perhaps one or two others.
Mm-hmm.
And the others don't participate because they choose to wear their hats, as the wives of, the mothers and so forth. And I think that's fair enough. And of course, then there are villages who, say no women matais. So, there's a barrier there.
Mm-hmm.
If for politics you are required to hold a title, then, that's Samoan context. So if you come from an area where the villages don't allow women to hold title, that is a real barrier.
Yeah.
So given, the constitutional provisions for the rights of everyone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of wondering how soon it is before someone takes that up,
Yeah.
in terms of village decisions and so forth. But I really do think in the Samoan context, we have our ways of sort of overcoming barriers, and we have a very collective approach to things, and it's a good approach as long as that collective approach benefits people equally, men and women.
Yeah.
So I think that's the challenge for our Samoa and our collective approach, is that it is inclusive and it does bring up everyone.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I was just thinking, there is actually a very good online course which you get everyone in Samoa to do. It's called Unconscionable Bias, and talks about gender equality and just as a male, how you can unconsciously have a bias that you're not even aware of yourself. So,
What sort of biases did you discover when you were doing that?
I'm quite neutral, but I think I think it's a lot to do with the way you've grown up. So the influential people in my life are my mum, my wife Susie, and my daughter, right? And probably my boss Tessa. So and for 50 odd years, that's always been the way with me. There's been different, as my grandmother before that. So so that's just the way I've been grown up. So yeah.
So Seth,
Yes.
do you have female announcers on this radio station?
Oh, we do actually.
Yeah.
We have none other than our girl Angie. She's sitting at the back. She does the tea time. And of course, we have...
What's tea time?
Oh, it's when we get tea and talk about stuff.
And who makes the tea?
Angie does. But of course, it's very nice that you're talking about the International Women's Day, because we had a couple of young females in the studio, and we're talking about. They said it was something they never really thought about. Joining politics, but they were so inspired by what happened with the Kako general election and the many sagas that came behind it. And they said they were just so intact, and they were thinking about being a lawyer, then joining politics, and the list goes on. And that's all. Thank you to you, and thank you very much, Honourable Prime Minister, for that. Musika sufefiloi molenita altia maasina ea. Malole eva malole fia fantasi maritanto por kalame lenei. Motivational Monday. Hopefully everyone's having a good kickstart to their day. I'd like to say big good morning and talafalama to a couple of people tuning in to the show right now. Famalo Tilusu ya Anitone Sanganga from Sam Observer. You got a song request dedicated to the Prime Minister. That's coming up next. Big good morning to our team from New Zealand, Porirua, Wellington. Our team from Auckland, Tauranga, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sacramento, California. Oh, my hometown.
You wish.
Germany. We got Texas, USA. Porirua, big good morning, and hopefully everyone's having a good kickstart to the day and enjoying the program this beautiful Monday morning. We got a question that was sent through this morning. Other than the pandemic, what other challenges do you think in international trade businesses are facing at the moment? Oh, wow, that's a serious one to bring it home.
No, short answer, shipping.
Shipping. Okay.
The rates for shipping have escalated hugely.
Yeah.
And I think I've said to the representatives of, high commissioners and ambassadors here, whether this is an issue that their countries, because it does impact, on all sectors.
Yep.
Shipping, short answer.
The other major challenge that we're seeing lately is the rise of petrol and gas. That's, of course, most of it is coming out of Vesile happening in Europe right now. Man, that's terrible.
Yeah, I think that will be short term.
Yeah. Peace talks are underway.
Yeah, well, that issue itself might be longer term, but in terms of the impact on fuel prices, we'll go through a bit of a peak that we're seeing at the moment, and things should balance out as supplies sort of moves around the world and shifts out of Eastern Europe. So hopefully in the next 3-6 months that will normalise. I know it's just on shipping, there's now a fuel surcharge on shipping, so Susie brings in a little shoebox once a month, which has got makeup and coffee and all Susie stuff. So and
care package.
Yeah, a little care package. And my view's always been we used to travel all the time, so we don't travel anymore. So this is, and it normalises the household, right? So for peace, it's only a small price to pay, but the cost of that little shoebox has doubled, in the last 6 months. Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that's impacting me. It's, must be impacting everyone in Samoa. So I said to her last night, no more shoeboxes. That's it. We're off. Yeah. We'll wait till we travel. Yeah.
We got a good morning from our international correspondent Tutasi coming out of Aotearoa. He says, good morning, Prime Minister. Wish
of where?
Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Aotearoa?
No, Auckland.
Aotearoa.
Oh, sorry. Leva aso. Aren't you saying she wished she could be here right now to interview you? Unlucky us.
I just wanted to close out IWD for tomorrow. So, gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow is the theme this year. So, what are we doing as a country? Climate change is massive. This sustainability issue. So, we've talked about, pandemic's a challenge for government. Climate change must be huge. Yeah. So, what are we doing?
Well, tying it into the International Women's Day, climate change. Climate change is yet one more context. Because the whole issue around women's equality is that women are in that vulnerable group. For social, cultural, and reasons, whether it's bias or how society is structured. The two main issues that women have faced and have advocated for are the right to vote and equal pay. So those are the continuing sort of ground issues. But when we have natural disasters, women are impacted, because it affects their domestic situations, their livelihoods. And in the context of Samoa, women are still very engaged in that sphere, the domestic sphere. They look after the families, they cook, carry water, do farming, So they are the most impacted because that's where they are and live. But at the same time too, and this is the vulnerable part of it, their access to resources is not as great as perhaps men. So they have to fight for the resource. And things like health. Well, sometimes because they're looking after everyone else, they don't necessarily look after themselves. So come climate change, it's yet one more context that places a burden on that vulnerable status that women are in. And it is. I mean, it's true. Women in poverty are so much more affected, with the impacts of of climate change, and it's very easy for women to fall into the victim space. But I think you talk about the women in your work and the leadership that they play. You see this in Samoan communities and in families. Who does the work? It's it's the women that make things work. So they're battling on.
Yeah.
Which for me as a woman, I think is a tremendous aspect of how I see women. They're resilient. They're very prioritized, in terms of where they spend their time, where they spend their energy. Despite, all these factors that, whether it be bias or systemic or organizational factors that, diminish their progress. But, they still pick up and carry on. And I think, for Samoa, when you have that kind of asset available to you, and that's something I would like to see, not just for women, but for all Samoans, but of course particularly women, because I think they're a great asset.
Yeah.
We see it in government. I mean, okay, representation in parliament, but you look at the service. CEOs are now almost 50-50. The general service is predominantly women, especially at the assistant CEO level.
Yeah.
So they are there. So they're there. I think their work has been appreciated.
Yeah.
But their work is, I don't know about appreciated, is recognized, but might not be acknowledged and valued as it should be.
We have equal pay, don't we? So
yes, we do.
Yeah.
Which is the wonderful thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing, a lot of issues that arise out of these international things, it's all sort of happening somewhere else, or it grew somewhere else. And, as a Samoan woman and as a Samoan politician, I sort of look at it and I think, not really us.
Yeah.
Or it's us to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But the context is different. And what I don't want to lose here in Samoa is that whole collective responsibility. How they say, to go for the fish and ruin the net. That's a Samoan expression, and our net is our collective approach. So, we if women per se were going to, protest and rant and rave and, about things and break, that collective approach, I think that would be a loss to Samoa.
Yeah.
But I think we can do it, within that context. And the status of Samoan women in the Samoa, it's a high status. They talk about the tamaitai or the female as being the sacred child, tamasao. There's the relationship between the brother and the sister. So I think these are the concepts and ideals of our society that we really need to remind people about and to bring it back.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Malolava, Honourable Prime Minister Faso Elenei Tao. Very wise words this morning. Well, just as promised, we got a couple of song requests dedicated to the Prime Minister here in the studio, dedicated from all your fans from around the world. We're gonna play them right now and run it through to see if the Prime Minister likes your song. Back to more music. This is Alabama Shakes, Sound and Color, dedicated to our Prime Minister. Good morning, brother. Don't worry, your track will be coming up next. Hopefully everyone's enjoying their motivational Monday of this morning. Need some good motivation. And of course, nothing beats good coffee in the morning. So I'd like to do a shout out to Milani, the crew tuning in right now. Good morning, Dora. Hopefully everyone's having a good start to their day over there. We did our live show at Milani's, was it last week? it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes, that's Auntie Fiame, we can do that. We can come to your. She just said, "Stop calling her auntie on radio."
You are in so much trouble.
I know. Oh yes.
Yeah, yes, Uncle Seth.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's one of the services that we provide here at iSpy. We can come to any location and do our shows there. So yeah, if you wanna, of course, have a show, advertise, or any notices you'd like to put out, make sure you contact us at iSpy Radio 87.5. Send us an email at iSpy@gmail.com.
Thanks, Young Seth, and thanks, Dora, again. So, Fiame, we're getting lots of questions around COVID. We've seen a breakout in American Samoa. So our prayers for everyone over in American Samoa at the moment, and similar in Tonga. A couple of the questions coming in this morning are around this 6-month rule. If you've had positive COVID, you can't come back to Samoa for 6 months. We're likely to see a review of that.
Yes, Bernie, most likely, because just like you getting the questions this morning, we of course receive all those messages as well.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an issue under review. Of course, Cabinet, takes advice, especially from our health experts. And also, we follow what's happening overseas.
Yeah.
And what's the veracity of the rationale behind the 6-month thing. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be good. We've got, this Omicron thing seems to be everywhere now, and the numbers coming out of Auckland, I believe 1 in 5 people are carrying the variant. So we had a close call last Friday, I believe, with a ship from Pungo that came in with some positive cases, and we've got some port workers now in quarantine.
Yes.
There was another flight arrived yesterday. Mostly from New Zealand, I believe, a lot of the passengers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've just received advice from our New York team on an update from the flight from yesterday of 172 passengers. Of course, they all got tested. There was a return of 8 positive cases last night amongst the passengers. So, of course, our team have moved into the protocols. Those people are being taken into the isolation unit at the hospital. And our most at-risk frontliners quarantining for 72 hours. You made mention of the cargo ship that came in last week. I spoke to that on my interview from Savaia on Saturday. Pango was very fast in advising us when they tested the crew when it arrived in Pango. So we also took measures, especially pulling in our frontline people for quarantining and testing. So as we saw with the flight from Brisbane, with our cases of up to 31, thankfully the protocols in place were able to contain the virus to quarantine facilities, and that is our expectation for the current case as well. Foi le whaapole nei le tunu e au ngā lava le tau longolongo mo le sila fia fo i o meo lo tutupu e au ngā lava le tātou malamalama i meo lo tutupu e le ngata i a tātou ia ale fo e tau lata mai tutuila ma le pepesi e o le whaamai pe o isia tunu una o le Pasifika o lea u whapena o na whaasolo ai le pepesi atu o le whaamai tua. Ia, ai au ngā fo ia e mamoli atu ai pēr le wheau ia whaitete, pui tangata lava ia te ia i le tūlanga o le tūmama, ma isi ai inga whare soifua maloloina, whaali atu ai fo ia le vaenga mo le sili fia le mamalu o le tunu. Just saying that it is important that this information is made available to the country. There is no reason to panic. Our protocols are in place. We demonstrated that with the Brisbane flight.
Exactly.
And hopefully those protocols will continue to keep the virus at bay in our quarantine facilities.
Yep. A big call out to our frontline workers who have done a phenomenal job for everyone in Samoa and keeping this thing contained at the border so far. So thank you to all you guys. It must be incredibly difficult circumstances to be working in, but for everyone in Samoa and all the listeners to iSpy Radio, we thank you.
Issued out this morning, breaking news, of course, leo watu ina mai le so nonga le tamaita ipandemia of 8 confirmed cases. Of course, big shout out to the New York and the team. We've been talking about it non-stop with the you know, get yourself vaccinated. That's one of the issues, Yakako. Everything is always last minute. You know, 5 booster shots and delayed second shots. Guys, do your part and play your role in keeping Samoa safe. So if you're not vaccinated, get vaccinated now. City that we were asked this morning, what is the Prime Minister's favorite song? And you're telling us that there's a special story behind this song.
Yes. This song is written by a woman.
Yeah.
It's actually a Dear John song. She was in a relationship with a theological college from American Samoa, a theological student from American Samoa. And he had leprosy.
Oh, wow.
So she wrote this song to him, and what I like about this song is the words. The tune is lovely, but the words, she makes it appear like you know, it's all her fault.
Yeah.
And no, I think it's my mother actually used to play this. I suppose that's why.
Okay.
I heard it very early on.
Yep.
She told me the story. We actually know the lady who wrote it. No, so I think that particular version you were playing is a cover by Punialaba.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a lovely song.
Oh man, you're speaking about leprosy. I've been to the island, Nutele.
No, I've only seen it.
You've seen it?
From the other side?
Yeah.
It's very dangerous getting there.
Yeah, the current.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Oh man.
Yeah.
As soon as I got, because the thing was, we had to film climbing over the island, and then the other side, and all the waves they break on the shore.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun. Just want to let you guys know that I'm a part-time explorer.
That was you and Huey, was it?
Yeah, it was me and Huey for the Tafaonga show with STA.
STA.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Great ad.
But of course, guys, leo wo afatonu to laiva. And of course, it's time for us to say goodbye. We'd love you guys to stay all day. Fairbear's like, oh really?
Yeah.
But of course, I'm just gonna give you the opportunity, Auntie Fiame. One more time. Any final words? Any final words for today, for Motivational Monday, and before you head out on your busy day?
Well, Uncle Seth, thank you very much. I've loved being on the program. I like the energy. Thank you to Bernie for bringing in, you know, one of the main issues we've been discussing this morning for International Women's Day. I will be speaking tomorrow at the event to mark International Women's Day, sponsored by the Ministry for Women. It's at Taumesina tomorrow morning at 10 if you wanted to cover that.
Yes.
So you're looking for inspirational words. I was asked if I have a favorite quote. I have a one-word quote, and it's Ono Sai.
Ono Sai.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Ono Sai.
So, Honourable Prime Minister, thank you for being part of the show this morning. It's been fantastic to have you in. You're always welcome at iSpy Radio. I know you just live down the road, so if you're driving past and you want to come in and give the nation an inspiration in the morning, please drop in and say hello at any time. So, have a blessed day. Thank you to you and all your cabinet. You're doing an amazing job. So, keep up the good work. And I know you're going to have a really busy day today. A couple of issues at hand. So, good luck with that. And thank you again.
Hey, thank you, Bernie.
Thank you very much, Bernie, this morning. It's always good having you here, brother. Can't wait to have you back for No Cash Tuesday.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Okay.
But we're gonna head into a song break. Ana toi foi mai le tanto por kalame. All the best today, Honorable Prime Minister. Manuela before That goes same for you, Bernie.